What does it take for every Kenyan to actually believe what Gachagua says? Because for so many times he is referred to himself as the truthful man.
I am a truthful and honest man, and I will remain so.
The man who speaks truth to power. The guy who says things even before they happen.
I am a very principled man, and I speak my mind and I speak from my heart.
But we don't ever take him serious. This guy told us long before June 25th, he saw everything that would happen. He broke down what exactly this government would do to Kenyans. Just listen to this.
Ndiona guoya ati hii ciana citũ ingiumĩra thirikari nĩ ĩkahũthĩra mĩkora gũciũraga na gavana wa Nairobi mĩkora ĩrutwo na gũkũ Umoja kayore na kũrĩa kũngĩ yũke yũrage ciana icio. Ndingĩona niĩ ndingĩũrio rĩrĩ gathi wa Gachagua niĩ no nyende ciana icio itikaumĩre barabara tondũ twaciĩset ciana icio ciaumĩra barabara nĩ igũcetwo ciũragwo na ndĩrakwĩra Sakaja tayari nĩ abangĩte mĩkora ya kũhũra ciana icio. Andũ aya nyote rĩa menayo ya thakame nĩ nene mũno nĩ marenda gũita thakame mũno ndiũĩ nĩkĩ thakame ya ciana ĩramakenia ndiũĩ ndingĩhota ku explain nĩkĩ tondũ ndiahota ku understand nĩkĩrĩa kĩratũma William Ruto ende thakame mũno ya ciana.
He went ahead to warn parents and the Gen Z.
Koguo rĩ tũtigatware ciana citũ gĩthĩnjĩro tukĩonaga tukimenyaga biũ ũrĩa kũbangĩtwo nĩgetha ciana ici citũ ituĩke cia kũragwo. No niĩ tondũ nĩ njũĩ Ruto mũno na andũ ake rĩ ciana icio citũ nĩ ikoragwo.
Some people think that he's a pushover. Some people think that he's a man that should never be taken serious. But can I tell you that this guy became an MP at the very first attempt? He became the deputy president, immediately after just being in parliament for one term. This is the guy who has single-handedly made sure that Ruto never goes to bed. Kitanda ya Ruto sahi iko to eat ever made. Inakuanga tu imemekiwa kila time. You go there hata saa 9 usiku uwezi mpata amelala.
Gachagua, who represents the opposition, Gachagua who will point at the man who can become president, Gachagua who can make Matiang'i president, Gachagua who can make Kalonzo president, that Gachagua could not have been impeached if the president knew who he was.
Guy is always strategizing, how can I shut Gachagua up? And this whole mess presented a perfect scenario to blame Gachagua and make him, for once, look like the enemy of the people.
But of course, from the reports we get, you can see clearly who are the coup plotters. You can also see it from the pattern of the areas where the protests were violent and intense. Particularly of great concern is in Nyeri, where the Member of Parliament of Mathira was specifically targeted, his home, and the Member of Parliament of Kieni. All those people being arrested and charged.
But what he didn't realize is that Gachagua is in the system so deep that he sees things that even people in government are not able to see. Which is, I don't blame Ruto. This is the worst kind of enemy to have, bro. Someone who is always 2 steps ahead of you. How are you ever gonna catch up? How are you ever gonna catch up? Bro, unafikiria what to do next. He already knows what you're thinking of doing next.
Kwa hivyo hii tariki 25, mimi nasema watoto wangu, watoto wetu, kama mtaona mtaenda kwa barabara ni haki yenu, lakini mkuwe careful. Hii ni serikali aina gani ambaye polisi wana escort goons kwenda kupiga watu, kwenda kuvuja maduka na kuiba mali ya watu?
He said that the government would hire goons and thugs to not only burn businesses, but to also invade police stations. In Kikuyu, they even burned a law court.
But you, Mr. Gachagua, are on record talking about state-sponsored goons. Where is the evidence?
The evidence is that if you see goons in a police vehicle, who owns that police vehicle?
And he said that all this was not going to be at random places. This would mostly happen in Mount Kenya, which is his political backyard.
You now have a scheme on how to destroy their businesses and try to blame their leaders, and then you want to persecute their leaders.
He would be the perfect fall guy. He would be the guy that the government would say, it is him. it is Rigathi who has been funding this nonsense. And guess what? When the day came, the prophecy came true. Prophet Rigathi Gachagua was right.
Demonstrations must be for all Kenyans. Why do you destroy the property and the livelihoods of your own community, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Rigathi Gachagua?
But you know the funniest thing is that no arrests connected to Rigathi Gachagua or even Rigathi Gachagua himself have been arrested.
If these goons were brought by the opposition, as they are alleging, Michelle, all of them would be custody, they would be in court. But these goons have not been arrested, and they cannot be arrested because they were brought by the state.
Which begs the question, is there any evidence linking Rigathi Gachagua to these invasions and destructions of people's property? Is there any logic that supports Rigathi Gachagua having done this?
Honestly speaking, it's so difficult to even try to repeat some of the things I'm hearing. Now we are talking about one community, or saying, you know, the people who were on the streets came from Murang'a and Nyeri, and then they went all the way to Kericho and Kisii and Kakamega and Mombasa. So there was no one in Murang'a and Nyeri that day. Everyone left Murang'a and Nyeri, went to Busia and Kisumu, honestly.
Now, like any sane Kenyan, you must ask yourself, what does the government aim to achieve with all these tactics? And the answer to that question is a sad one.
Joyce Chelagat, CTNA, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Center for Strategic and Security Studies at the National Defense University of Kenya.
All this chaos, blame, confusion, all that is just cover up. These guys are trying to usher in a military rule. And CS Murkomen did it on Thursday and Friday.
Na tumeambia polisi, mtu yoyote mwenye atakaribia police station, piga yeye risasi.
Of course, they say it is for the order. It is for maintaining a calm nation. The shoot to kill order. You think that is a democracy? You think that's how democracies operate?
Kipchumba Murkomen is a young, excited cabinet secretary, full of himself because of money and power. He cannot, against the law, give instructions to police to shoot to kill.
They did it last year, June. The same thing happened. After the invasion in parliament, they deployed KDF in this country. And we know very well that KDF should never operate inside the country. They should help with external invasions.
Breaking news, guys. Parliament has approved the deployment of KDF across the country to handle the Reject Finance Bill protests.
And this military rule is just a means to an end. The real end, the real hidden agenda is to make sure that Ruto holds on to power past 2027, because, of course, everybody in that government knows that ni one term siku zote.
President Ruto says we have no plan. We have a plan to send him home.
Now, Gachagua warned us. We did not listen. And Kenya is in a weird state where we cannot trust the government to do anything right because they are always lying. It is so sad that in a country where almost all of us never took Rigathi Gachagua serious, all of us saw him as a man that we could not even look at twice, out of disgust, out of the foul mouth he had, he has remained the only source of truth. Just imagine the kind of country this has become. Guys, we are cooked. Subscribe.